Hi, I'm Tim O'Leary and I'm here with my wife Fiona O'Leary, and we're just going to have a chat about what happened to her on People's Internet Radio last weekend, where she was interviewed by Martin Daly on a show which was hosted by Sean Maguire. That was bad enough. We haven't heard that interview because they haven't put it up, but the next morning on Saturday the 4th of July, Sean Maguire went on People's Internet Radio. I had a nice chinwag with one of his call-in guests called Patrick, where they said some very nasty things about Fiona while she wasn't there, obviously. She was called a shill, a rude bitch, an imbecile, an idiot, mad lunatic woman that patronised her, saying she'd be found in a field crying with no friends, wondering what happened, saying that she was brainwashed, she was the problem, lots of different things, all the while promoting the use of MMS, saying how they wouldn't trust her to use it properly. Sean Maguire hasn't apologised for this, and People's Internet Radio haven't been very helpful and have refused to apologise or hold Sean Maguire responsible for any wrongdoing. So I just want to give Fiona a chance to respond. Well, Fiona, what do you think? How do you feel about that?
Well, I've had a very strange week. Obviously, I just want to make it clear that for the past 14 months I have been involved in a worldwide campaign trying to ban MMS, specifically as a use for autism, as a treatment for autism. And people are fully aware of the campaign and what we've done to date with our colleagues around the world and the exposure we've had, and that it's led to investigations now in Ireland into those using MMS on their children and those selling MMS. On Friday night I was invited on, like you said, by Martin Daly. He's a very good friend of mine for over 20 years now, so I'm very, very fond of Martin. And it was short notice, granted, but I said I'd do it because I'm so committed to the campaign, and more exposure is only going to benefit the campaign. I was not aware that People's Internet Radio were pro-MMS at the time and had such an intense feeling towards MMS. I was not aware of that, and if I had been aware of their support, I probably would have reconsidered doing the interview. However, I went ahead and I was interviewed, or due to be interviewed, at 1 a.m. in the morning, Friday night, Saturday morning, and roughly 30 minutes before I went on air, I got a Skype message from Sean Maguire, who was hosting the show, basically, telling me that we were going ahead at 1 o'clock, and then he set up a chat room, and in the chat room I was introduced really negatively as a farmer shill and as a mainstream media whore. I was completely shocked, I was like, what the hell's going on,
Yeah, I thought it actually, that wasn't a very nice way to introduce you, obviously.
No.
And by the way, this is something that's levelled at you by members of the Institute Church and promoters of MS.
Yes. Yeah.
They keep saying you're employed by Big Pharma, or you're paid by the mainstream media or something.
I know. It's absolutely ludicrous.
Are you employed by Big Pharma?
Of course I'm not. I'm a mother to 5 children. I have Asperger's, as everybody probably knows by now, and I have 2 autistic children. I'm not paid by anyone. Everything I've done today has been voluntary. I haven't even got a cup of tea for all the work I've done over the last 12, 14 months. And I'm not a supporter of Big Pharma either. My children are not on any medication, just to clarify. So they just make these assumptions because of their ignorance and their brainwashed minds, which is what I've been accused of, being brainwashed, when it's obvious the opposite case here, that they are the ones that are brainwashed. So I'm used to being called a pharma shill, and I usually blow it over. I've been threatened by the Genesis 2 Church in the past. I've even had my children threatened by the Genesis 2 Church, and I have police protection for that. However, this was very different because I feel it was set up. The chat room that was created for People's Internet Radio, he had like a load of people come in, like the bodies, I suppose, who started making fun of me, calling me Fiona, Feeowner, asking who was paying me, and Sean Maguire saying, well, she ain't getting paid by People's Internet Radio for sure. And I was like, I was really embarrassed, and I was unnerved, obviously, because I was about to go on air. But I didn't want to let Martin Daly down, because he's a very good friend of mine. I had put a lot of work into this. So,
okay, so you did the interview, basically.
Yes, I did, yeah.
And I know what happened at the end of the interview. You pretty much called him up.
I did,
for why he was.
I had
he was
to.
saying pretty nasty things to you on
Well,
Skype.
I had to, Timmy, because it got so out of control in the end. I was called a child abuser for vaccinating my children.
It ended up. It didn't end up great. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, it'd be great if we had the rights. But just to clarify, Tim, there, that they will not release the interview to me or to Martin Daly, who did the interview, which is wrong. But it ended at 4 in the morning. I think I got to bed at 5 a.m. that morning, absolutely just traumatised and shocked. But I didn't realise the following day that it would continue.
So let's, whatever about the Friday,
Yes.
we can't hear it. We'd love to hear it.
We would,
But
yes.
Saturday morning, I know you realise, well, it's on Sean Maguire's
It's on his website. Yeah.
his PIR link. It's there, his chinwag with Patrick. Well, they say some pretty nasty stuff. I mean, and he doesn't seem to care. Doesn't.
No, I mean, the problem for me is that, just to clarify a few things, on Friday night, as you know, Tim, we were blocked from PIR website. We couldn't even acknowledge the link. They said it so that our IP couldn't connect, which we were shocked, but it just shows how infantile they are. The following day, I learned about this show going up and this chinwag, as you said, with Patrick, and part of me didn't want to listen to it because I was still vulnerable from the night before, but I did listen to the full 40 minutes with you. And we edited the interview because we felt it was just so shocking. And the words that he describes me as a lunatic, an imbecile, and he makes comments in relation to my social skills, which is, I suppose, relating to me being on the spectrum, which I find really low, and also promotes MMS. So what I've learned, I suppose, from this is that, Sean Maguire is obviously very passionate about MMS and about, the protocols, as he says, that I don't understand, and that I can't be left in charge of a box of matches or behind the wheel of an automobile. To make these assumptions about me, he doesn't even know me, and he was clearly advocating MMS.
And by the way, Sean Maguire said that you wouldn't go on an interview with him, but he never asked you to.
No.
And I'm sure you would. You'd love to be interviewed by Sean Maguire, wouldn't you?
I would now, definitely, yeah. It'd be a very, very interesting interview. But the thing is, I want to try and relay about all of this situation is that I have made so many attempts to get an apology from Friday last up until now. I've had messages actually recently sent to me by the management of People's Internet Radio, which are quite threatening. And to make it clear to my supporters out there that have been so kind to me, and the autistic community, whom I really dearly love, and they're wonderful people. We are trying to protect our human rights here. We're being attacked. There's a war being waged upon us with these unethical, unregulated treatments, and we're not going to stop until we get legislation that protects our rights. And so everything that I'm doing and my colleagues are doing is all about that. We shouldn't have to be doing this because we shouldn't have to go to these extremes to stop people, forcing bleach into autistic children. But this is sadly what is happening. The point I want to make is that, people might think, that I'm out there and I'm on the media and I'm on the telly and I'm in the news or whatever, that this doesn't affect me personally. Of course it does, and I mean, I have feelings, contrary to the belief that people say that autistic people don't have empathy. It is not true. It is actually the opposite. We have abundance of empathy, and bullying and slandering and all these things that have gone on the last week in relation to me particularly has really, really affected me. I mean, on Saturday evening, I was in a very bad state. My husband, you and Tim, know that, and my mother does, and fellow colleagues out there and friends. So, I could take two choices on this. I could just walk away and let People's Internet Radio get away with slandering and bullying of a woman, which is disgusting, grown men actually bullying and abusing a woman. But I'm an autistic woman, and I really think that needs to be mentioned as well, that they know that and they realise that all throughout, and they continue to carry on with this bullying and this slander. So it's left me with no position now but to take and seek legal advice, which I'm doing, and highlight them on a public scale. So, I mean, if Sean Maguire, if you're listening to this, Sean, you can go out with your buddy Patrick and make a show where you mock and degrade and humiliate me. Well, guess what? I'm here to show you the response to that.
Okay. So what would you like Sean to do?
Well, Sean knows what I want him to do. He knew that last Saturday. I asked him to apologise. I've asked him to retract his comments and make a public apology, okay? And I've asked him to remove his slanderous show where he's defaming me. I've also asked the management of People's Internet Radio to suspend Sean Maguire for his actions, which I really thought they would have by now. Instead, what they did is suspend my friend Martin Daly, because he basically didn't agree with, the way they behaved. So that's what they do. There's like a law unto themselves. They can do what they want. And on Monday, I want to make this point, Timmy, and I'll finish up soon, is that the head or the management of People's Internet Radio was contacting me and did speak to you, as you know, at length on Sunday night on the phone. And he admitted to me on Monday that, I was wronged, and it was wrong what happened to me, and that he himself was thinking of putting up a public apology on Sean Maguire's behalf. And I said, well, that's absolutely ludicrous. You're basically apologising on his behalf. That's nonsensical. He needs to apologise. He's like a nearly 50-year-old man. You know, he doesn't need somebody else to say sorry for him. And I said, no, I want Sean Maguire to apologise. And then he changed his mind and retracted that possible chance of an apology. So I'm in a position now where if this is how they're going to behave, then I want to make the public aware. Because People's Internet Radio, I don't know what their listening-ship is, I don't know the exact number, but they are established for a long time. And they do go out on a worldwide level, and they have guests from all corners of the world on. And look, I know, and I can accept someone having a different point of view to me, okay? I'm dealing with negative reviews every day of the week, people not agreeing with me. It's always in my line of advocacy work that I do. But it's done mostly with respect, and that's the problem here. If they don't agree with what I'm saying, it doesn't mean they should be rude or offensive to me when directing their point of view. That's what I don't accept. And you know, they're meant to be professional, they're meant to be hosts of a station. They need to be highlighted on those areas. And I want the public to be aware of what the People's Internet Radio have done to me personally as a woman and a woman on the autistic spectrum. And I want them to be aware of, if they're engaging with them in the future or listening in, you know, what they're supporting here. And that's what I want to say. You know, I want people to be aware that this has happened to me, and it's going to happen again to other people. That they kind of, you know, spew this kind of belief system that they're there for the people, but they're clearly the opposite. Mm-hmm. They're very close-minded and one-sided, and you know, if they don't agree with what you're saying, you're out. You know.
Okay, well, certainly with certain things like MMS, Sean Maguire seems to be pretty adamant. You know, he doesn't like you talking bad about it.
No,
it's pretty obvious, and the way he introduced you straight off the bat as a media shill, basically. Pretty much set the whole tone, you know. It was basically the fact that if I even had a chance to introduce myself, yes, I was like this big negative farmer shill mainstream media whore, which I was called, which is disgusting. And I like, you know, I don't care what people say about MMS. That's repeated
for their own
Saturday,
personal
actually,
use.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm
protecting
how do you get
children.
so much media, Fiona? They just think they don't trust you because you're in the media.
Oh yeah, it comes to my door. They just knock on the door and I let them in. I work my ass off, pardon the word, but I have worked so hard over the last 12, 14 months, 10 hours plus a day. You know, I've sacrificed my own personal life, my family, for this whole campaign. And I begged, I mean, I'm you know, on the phone emailing, not just in Ireland, all around the world, trying to get the media to cover this. And we've had huge exposure in America, in the UK, you know, in all around the world, and it's been down to hard work and consistency and persistence of begging and knocking. It doesn't come to me. So they say, oh, the media. I'm not affiliated with anybody. You know, I'm just Fiona O'Leary. We're Autistic Rights Together. We set up an organisation to give some more weight to our campaign.
Okay. Well, I think that's enough.
Can I just end on something? Because you know, I just want to make this clear again. Not to be repeating myself, but you know, we are here to protect the rights of autistic people. That's what we're trying to do here. MMS is a dangerous, can be fatal substance that is not legal. You know, it's actually illegal to be selling this and offering this as a treatment. So People's Internet Radio, by promoting MMS, are actually, you know, breaking the law, so to speak. And you know, we will report anyone, just to make this clear, that advocates, sells or promotes MMS to the HPRA and to the Gardaí in Ireland, and the same worldwide. So you know, what they did on Saturday by doing this extra show was really, really stupid of them, actually, because it puts them in a vulnerable position. Secondly, I want to make this clear: I'm completely against MMS, okay, and quack treatments. I don't work for any organisation. I believe in science, I believe in evidence, but the most important thing is I believe in the protection of the vulnerable in our society and human rights of everybody on this planet, including autistic people. And it clearly is the case that their rights are not being acknowledged in 2015. And we are going to change that. We are going to make history, and we are going to make that happen. But I want to make it clear that this is the worst case of abuse I've received to date in this campaign. I have been threatened, like I said in the past, but not to this extreme, and not with such hate-filled, you know, I don't know, the fact that he went and did a show to basically humiliate me on top of everything else. It shows the immaturity of People's Internet Radio. So people need to be aware of the truth behind People's Internet Radio and one Sean Maguire. Thanks for the interview, Tim.
Thank you, Fiona.